session. My name is Peter, founder of Verve. And at Verve, we're very much on this mission to kind of show value in the power of the energy data available and use it to kind of monetize and provide different business models for other commercial entities to utilize. And hopefully the fundamental principle behind all that is the encouraging of the acceleration of renewables across the grid. So I'd like to kind of talk about where Verve's been a little bit. So we've always been playing around in the ultra high frequency space. We've got a smart home app which communicates with our Verve hub. We've also got a lot of control systems built into the home which are able to do kind of aircon, immersion controllers, etc. We're a team that's based out of the UK. We've been predominantly kind of machine learning driven. So I think of our first 12 employees, 8 of them were machine learning guys. So it's been very much data driven, using this kind of high-speed sampling data to analyze it. We're still very technologically led, but our background is we've taken a lot of venture money from energy companies and kind of sustainable investors in this space. But there's 3 main kind of characteristics of the part of our company. You've got the Verve Home Hub. This is our mass manufacturing version of this, samples at 1 million times a second, so that's in megahertz. So when we say ultra high frequency, that is kind of at the far right of the stuff that we usually see. We own an energy switching company, so we're neutral of energy companies potentially for our consumers, but we also partner with them as well. So our largest purchaser of our units is actually a big energy company. So we do a lot of work in the Middle East, and they're our rollout partner. So we have the kind of option to add in this switching capability if needed. And the bit that I want to focus on today is our Verve Connect product. So this is a control system which basically allows you to remotely turn on and off appliances, just like a normal smart plug, but with a little extra difference, which I'll kind of come to. And this kind of came around because one of the biggest frustrations we were having as a company was the labeling of data. And I'm sure everybody in this room has kind of felt the pain that, great, you've got all these homes, but how do you match that up with all the appliances, and you can't necessarily get to all these appliances, and so it's kind of been a pain put through. We were also on another level of pain that we've got this beautiful box which is out there sampling, hundreds of thousands of times per second, yet the best smart plug I could get hold of was giving me data about once every 10 seconds, some of the best ones once every second. And therefore my ground truth data wasn't quite useful enough to be able to really match up to my high-speed data set that I was pulling in from the actual hub itself. So we ended up building this Verve Connect product. So basically, inside the little switch you can see is a high-speed processor. It's sampling the data, this particular one at 10,000 times per second, and it's beaming that directly up to the cloud in real time. So therefore we can sync all of our plugs together and sync that with our actual raw ground truth data to be able to utilize that. And that's kind of sent us down a slightly different path to what we were playing before, and where we're actually analyzing the individual appliance data to try and see whether we can do things like condition monitoring, predictive maintenance, like fault detection, and also things like safety controls. So the stuff that we were proving we were able to do with our box, obviously the level of accuracy is only so high. 90% is a nice number that we throw around. So when you have different resolution of data, obviously that's very flexible based on that, I think. So if we want to be really accurate with condition monitoring, we were like, actually, we need to be using some of these plugs that we've built. So that's kind of what led us down that path. And we get a lot more detail with that. We get the ability to know, when people open the doors, when the certain spins are on, when the heating element is on, and that allows us to build kind of smart algorithms which are able to be laid on top of that and allow us to do our things like the condition monitoring and predictive maintenance. We were always able to produce some stuff with the box, so we could do things like show if the fridge had been left open, etc., but not anything to the level of what we're able to do on our plugs. So the other major feature it had was the control capability, and that kind of opened up the last bit of the jigsaw that we were needing from our consumers. They were like, great, you can tell me my washing machine's on, you can tell me my dishwasher's costing me this amount of money, but can you actually turn these things on and off for me? And I was like, no. So we built in this Verve Connect product to basically allow not only the fault detection, but the actual control. You've all heard the business cases many times from the NILM community as to what can be provided, like the automatic supply of washing tablets, etc., cost of running your machine. But the thing that we're really focusing on as a company is just the general monetizing of data. So what we're looking to provide or have been is just general APIs available to our system for other third-party people to use. Like we've generated the in-home app and the other experiences, but actually we're more than up for the kind of white label approach where other companies can just use the data which we're pumping out from the cloud, from a hub, or from the actual plugs themselves. And we've been working mainly around the air conditioning space and the refrigeration, as well as washing machines and dishwashers, understandably. And the kind of key scenario that I think is quite beneficial to those in the room is just the speed that we've had of labeling our data for us. So all these get synced up to an Amazon cloud, and they're basically matched then against our consumption data that we're pulling from the hub. And it's basically not only analysing that for us for the machine learning guys to be able to sync it all up, but really allowing a better experience for the consumer as well, because now as part of the app they've received, not only are they getting this individual appliance breakdown, but in the same app they've got the capability of controlling these appliances as well. So we found the actual overall customer experience to be a lot more enjoyable too. There's an interesting button you see on the bottom of this. You see it says training mode. Basically what we've added into the app is a really cool tool for our machine learning engineers. And it basically means that when you click into training mode, you can actually start providing usage data labeled on a whole different level. So here the user sees a nice kind of, this is the power consumption of my washing machine, this is the make, model number, etc. And kind of, what they paid for it, what the kind of price, what the return on investment they would want to get if it's faulty, etc. But here you can get them to encourage the behavior to label it to another level for us. So if somebody opens their washing machine in training mode, you can basically get them to put in the cycle, the temperature, the actual load size, etc. And it will allow them to actually do the labeling for you. And I think this has been a key factor that's really helped our machine learning team, is to actually reward the consumer by having, like Google Nest have leaves, etc. We've just got kind of in-house gamification to actually encourage it. And it's amazing what the adoption is kind of heading down that path for. And you can see you can also put in faults. So if you want one of your consumers to leave the door open, or you've got your lab happening where you're testing all your washing machines and dishwashers, etc., you can also flick from the drop downs to how blocked your washing machine cycle is, or how faulty your motor is, and label it up at the same time. It gives you a really cool little countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and when they do the action. So it's been a really useful tool for our teams to actually speed up the labeling process. And then it displays the obviously faults in the app. So we relayed the actual condition monitoring tools that we have directly down into the user front end, which is cool. Has all the other features of your smart products as well, or smart plugs, like it does carbon calculations, it does a summary of each day that's been used, but it mainly gives you this extra insight as to when the faults have occurred on your appliances, what actions you were taking, whether they're live, and what kind of cycles you've been using. And that provides an extra layer of information again for our machine learning guys to be able to provide a better API to the outside world and for energy companies and consumers to kind of get a better experience. And that's one of the key things I really want to focus on. Like, we're potentially looking to partner with other people in this space, and we just want to be the kind of platform system for it. So we've basically been working really hard to provide different APIs that people can use. So if you're one of the big energy companies, or you're even one of the other players in the NILM space, actually you can utilize all the tools that we've got and put your branding and your wrapper and everything around it. We also built in things like scheduling. So if you want to remotely in the office in 20 minutes time turn on your fridge so that you can actually see the dramatic effect it will happen and plan things out like demand side response, we've also built that into the back end. So you can custom build your own algorithms to do control as well as to do condition monitoring on the actual system. This is one of my favorite bits. So what we're doing in here, or what we're looking to do here, is partner with various universities and other people just interested in writing algorithms for individual appliances. So we've anonymized all the data but link them together. So you can download all the data available just for washing machines. So you get high-speed resolution data for washing machines and can filter it per brand. So if it was Samsung or it's Beko or somebody else, you can actually filter and download it as a whole data set to be able to work your algorithms on. And again, you also are labeled with what wash cycle it's done, what temperature it's put through, and you can actually learn some really interesting things from the data that I think we've found quite exciting as new insights. But we very much want to encourage people to kind of come onto the platform and take this data to actually write their own algorithms for. I think we're all aware as a community that there's no way you could write an algorithm for every single washing machine, and those that play with the data see that they are different. They all have their little tweaks. So actually, the more people that are getting involved in this and labeling the data for us and actually writing the algorithms to control that you can then utilize on, the better, I think. So it's all up to AWS, the standard tools that you're used to working with. There's no custom-built craziness that you have to go and learn all the driver sets. They're all Lambda functions and other tools that we've been using in AWS. So that means somebody coming on to use the platform will make it a lot easier to actually find out. And again, our key thing is very much to kind of build the community based around this. So to get other people involved, which is why we've kind of been looking at different tier prices. And one of the key things we want to do is offer a discount to everyone in the NILM community. So yeah, at the moment we've been selling these for £199 a go. On small volume orders like 10s and kind of 50s, 100s, like we've been selling for about, or offering a 50% discount to partners getting involved who are offering to do algorithm development and put their teams on the case. But I think it's probably worth saying that on mass volume, these plugs do come around to about £20, £30. So it's not like if you did want to roll out, you'd have a price limit. But they are at the moment being very much for data collection purposes, your own internal research, and the ability for you to kind of speed up the development of being able to show the capability that you've got. Going out and getting trial homes to actually make this happen with hubs, especially, we know how difficult that is. But actually posting out 5 smart plugs and getting them to plug it into the device, and then you map that against maybe your smart meter data, is a lot more efficient. It's got Bluetooth in, so I think it was the Net2Gear guys talked earlier about how the ease of integration, exactly the same as this, same way you set up with Amazon Alexa. And so we've just been helping out this whole customer experience. And the fact that you can add in your own training algorithms and get the consumer to do all your labeling for you is where the kind of massive beneficial scenario is. So one of the things we want to do is kind of put it out there to encourage the adoption across the entire community to see if we can speed up the adoption of NILM across. So you'll see on the stand we've got a demo sat there. We've got some of the kind of control capability and some of the other features, and you can look at how the training mode works. I think it's set up for washing machines, tumble dryers and dishwashers to allow you to play around with it. As said, all the data goes up directly to the cloud in raw FLAC file format. So you've got an ease of capability across it, and some of the stuff that Ollie was talking about with the metadata, like we're tagging that live as it goes. So all this fault information is a really nice CSV sat alongside your raw FLAC file. So it's kind of a tool built for our machine learning guys, which actually we realise has probably got a bigger potential impact across the whole NILM community and the sector as a whole. Because if we can encourage energy companies, etc., to adopt this, and we have an open API platform, it's only going to increase the benefit for everyone involved. So I've still got a minute left, so I will add that into my beautiful question time. We're always hiring, just putting it out there if there's any awesome machine learning guys in here that are looking for jobs, and we're London based. But yeah, my name is Peter Davies. It's been a pleasure talking to you.